Hi, and welcome to ECE 220 Curriculum Methods and Techniques, and this will be your screencast for week 7. Alright, if you could take a few moments to just look over our objectives for the week. I'm not going to read these out loud, so just pause, take a few moments, read these over, and make sure you know what it is that we are working on this week. So this week we are making our transition from communication curriculum to arts curriculum. So arts curriculum is really important in an early childhood classroom because it is tied to all other areas of development, including cognitive, social, and emotional, and physical. And it really helps children to recognize and express their feelings, communicate new ideas through a variety of forms, and it helps to develop and refine our senses. And really, it's important to note that everybody is creative when you put your mind to it, and we all are able to express ideas and communicate ideas through a variety of forms in some way, shape, or form. However, for the purposes of arts curriculum in early childhood classrooms, we are going to be focusing on visual arts, music, and creative movement in early childhood classrooms. So let's go ahead and dig in. So what is visual arts curriculum? So visual arts curriculum really allows children to develop creativity and art skills, express their feelings and ideas through art, begin to understand that art is a discipline, observe and respond to visual art, and come to appreciate art from their own timeline as well as other cultures and eras, and construct understanding through art. Why do we think that this is important? Why is it important to promote and support creativity in early childhood classrooms? Well, first and foremost, today's children are growing up in a world that are very different than the present. They're going to work in careers that do not yet exist. They're going to use methods and technologies that have also not been invented yet, and they're going to value commodities that have yet to be created. So that being said, children really need to have expertise in the following: fluency, flexibility, elaboration, and originality. And all of this stems from creative development. And it's really important that children have that opportunity to generate new ideas, to be flexible in their thinking, to expand upon ideas. All of that is super important and critical to who they are going to become as they enter the workforce later on down the line. So what are some things that you can do to provide experiences with visual arts in your classroom? So essentially what you are doing is you're providing experiences with line, color, shape, form, space, and design. Additionally, you are going to be providing experiences with drawing, painting, collage, construction, modeling, and sculpting. Because when you do that, you are providing children with experience with line, color, shape, form, space, and design. I also want to just briefly take a moment to plug the importance of process art versus product art. You have been given a video to watch this week on the difference between the two, but it's really important that you understand how process art and product art differ and why process art is super important in early childhood classrooms, because through process art, children are gaining skills in creative development while also getting experience with line, color, shape, form, space, and design. And process art can be done through these following visual art activities: through drawing, through painting, through collage and construction, through modeling and sculpting. The biggest thing with process art is that you're allowing children to express themselves through this mode. So it is not you as the teacher serving as a guide or a model and what the end product should be. It's children giving the opportunity to express themselves and produce an original piece of art. This means that there are no templates, there are no guides, there are no rules. It's here are some art materials and this is what we're doing with that. And the majority of visual arts experiences in early childhood classrooms should be process art. I encourage you to watch the video and read the blog that I have posted and to reach out if you have any questions on this topic. So what do visual arts centers look like in early childhood classrooms? I'm just going to briefly provide you with a few examples. So there should be a variety of materials. If you take a look up here, there's crayons, markers, writing utensils, but collage materials, tissue paper, various types of paper, painting supplies, which paint should be left out at all times for children to explore as needed. In this particular area, you see not only the writing utensils, but they've gotten some books. They got a book over here as well. It's a NACCE thing. They've got some loose parts, it looks like down here, wood, seashells, just a variety of materials for children to be creative and express themselves through the visual arts. So these are some examples of some well put together, well organized art centers. It's also important that you're providing art displays in classrooms so that young children can see their work hung up and be proud of their work. I've seen some really creative art displays in classrooms. I think that it looks better when there's like a purpose or a rhyme or a reason for how you're displaying art. But I think that the two things that are most important about art displays is that they're at the child's level and that children have access to hang up the art that they wish to hang up. So sometimes in classrooms I'll see one bulletin board that's hung up at adult level that is displaying all their children's art, and every piece of art on that board is the same art and oftentimes ends up being more product art. But if you take a look at these art displays, this is all process art, so you can tell that the children were just given some materials and they were allowed to do what they wished with those materials. And it also looks like children were able to pick and showcase what it is that they wanted to hang up on the art display. But there should be an area in your classroom where visual art is able to be hung up and talked about and referred back to. The next part of arts curriculum is actually music curriculum, and music is really important in an early childhood classroom because listening to and making music brings pleasure to individuals, but also supports with cognitive development. So this week I have provided you with an article on why music benefits the brain, which is really important for you to understand and make that correlation and make sure that you're providing children with experiences to explore music. So some of the ways that you can do that is by singing in your classroom. Be enthusiastic, be spontaneous, accept and embrace musical diversity, and make good choices when you are talking about music in your classroom. So this looks like singing, providing experiences with instruments, listening activities, and moving to various music. So this actually kind of aligns and supports creative movement, and we'll talk about that particular part of arts curriculum next. In an early childhood classroom, it is ideal that you have a music center or at least musical instruments out on the shelf at all times. So a lot of times we think that we're not going to put out the music or the instruments only when we deem it important or when it's our time as teachers to control that, but really children should have access to music and musical instruments all throughout the day. These are a couple of well put together music centers. I think one thing that you will notice about each of them is that they have a variety of musical instruments from around the world, which is also an important part of accepting diversity and encouraging multiculturalism in your classroom. So the last section of arts curriculum that we want to talk about is creative movement curriculum. And this is important to note that this is not a substitute for large motor activities. This is something that's different. It's also different than dance. In dance, an instructor leads what's going on, but this is free-flowing and it comes from the child. And really it's when children move to play, express feelings, and communicate. So it doesn't even necessarily have to involve music. So keep that in mind, because I think a lot of times people think that creative movement curriculum needs to be tied to music, but that's not necessarily what this is. It's really just them expressing ideas and communicating in a different way, and in a creative way. So there's a variety of things that can be done in terms of what creative movement activities look like. However, when you're providing experiences with creative movement, the room should be safe, it should inspire creativity, it should be open. You can include some props in there, including a way to play music and a way to signal young children. But again, you don't always have to have music in order to be participating in creative movement activities. It could be something, it could be a game, but I think the game would have to be pretty open-ended, meaning it couldn't be something necessarily like Simon Says. But it could be like the animal, that I'm sure some of you have probably participated in it before, but the animal game where it's like walk like an elephant. As long as you're not showing them how to walk like an elephant and you're giving them the ability to choose what a walking elephant looks like, then that would be a creative movement experience. So there's a variety of ways for you to provide young children with these types of experiences. So that is it for this screencast. Please reach out if you have any questions. Other than that, I hope everybody has a great week. Thanks.